Hello everyone, I'm Kevin Ma, and my today's topic is General Analysis and Investigation of Rhetorical Devices in the Discipline of Economics. My representation includes background of the study, my corpus, discourse feature, definition of hedges, data transcription, framing theory, research gap, research question, and method coding, and last is preliminary findings. Firstly, background of my study. The study aims to do a general analysis of rhetorical devices in the discipline of economics. In the studying of economics, research articles that belong to a certain journal produce similar pattern of texts. This pattern refers to language use, the structure of the articles, and rhetorical devices. In Highland's article, he mentioned that writers produce similar pattern of text is because their self-agency were constrained by the discipline, which means they were told to align themselves with the discourse value proposition, and therefore my study is to investigate the use of rhetorical devices in my corpus and see how they manage to participate in the academia. My corpus. In order to study the rhetorical devices in the discipline of economics, my study collected 12 articles from the Journal of Econometrica, which has recommended by my teaching assistant of Econ 105 in Simon Fraser University. The reason I chose this journal is because I am interested in quantitative study and longitude study. I found that when combining these two types of study, researchers tend to be more vague about their results, partly because time is a variable that research cannot control, so their use of rhetorical devices determines the degree of validity of their research. So during the selection process, I chose not to look at experimental research in the SFU online library, and research only the non-experimental research in the Econometrica. I chose 12 articles conducted an experiment, but in fact, they are all empirical research. Then in next step, I'm going to do an initial coding of my corpus to find out what is my discourse feature. Discourse feature. After using the DA heuristic sheet to code my corpus, I have found that the salient discourse feature of economics is hedges. Definition of hedges. Highland described hedges as rhetorical devices that withhold complete commitment to a proposition. For example, apparently, can, may, might, possibly, and etc. Cautious statements that indicate plausible reasoning rather than certain knowledge. Writers use hedges to negotiate epistemic claims with readers and thus provide discursive space for readers to dispute interpretations. Data transcription, and here's one example, and I'll explain that. Authors use identify to claim that their model explains their hypothesis, but use however to reveal the real result of their research. Finally, they use hedges like suggest to present the conclusion. Thus, we can see here that even articles that conducted experiments can also be empirical research. Therefore, we really need to look into how rhetorical devices were used in the RA, because it contains many hidden intentions of the writers. Framing theory. The purpose of using hedges in my corpus verified Park's rhetorical general theory. Park's RGT concluded that writers in the academic world are not just writing research articles. They are participating in a social action, which means their texts and consequences are likely to be regulated and regularized by the discipline. Research gap. Many scholars like Highland views hedges as a rhetorical device that indicates writers do not have a certain knowledge, thus the degree of their validity were decreased. I think the research gap here lies. Is it possible for rhetorical devices like hedges are in fact helping the authors to make the arguments more persuasive, and therefore increase the validity of the research? And here's one question. Are writers using hedges to persuade readers that their arguments have more validity? Method coding. Joe proposed the necessity of coding, which is to categorize the transcript by the question of interest. I will be using this method in my study and present detailed analysis in the RA. And finally, the preliminary findings. After coding, I predict that I will have the research result of writers are using hedges to persuade readers and making them believe that their research results are trustworthy. Okay, that's all. Thank you.